Pakistan has one of the largest collections of high mountains in the world. Their compelling charm and challenge lures large numbers of mountaineers and adventure seekers from the world over. In 1997, in order to celebrate the Golden Jubilee of Pakistan's independence, the Alpine Club of Pakistan decided to launch its first all-Pakistani expedition to the world's highest mountain, Mount Everest, at 8,848 meters. The expedition sets out in early April to take up the Everest challenge. The members of the team were Nazir Sabir, the expedition leader, Sheikh Khan, Captain Muhammad Iqbal, Rajab Shah, Mehban Shah, Muhammad Ibrahim, Rozi Ali, Ghulam Hassan, Sarwar Khan, Flight Lieutenant Dr. Safiullah, the expedition doctor, Rehmat Karim, the expedition cook, Tsering, the Tibetan kitchen boy, and Asad Qureshi, the filmmaker. After several days of road journey from Nepal, the expedition reaches the Everest North Side Base Camp at 5,300 meters in Tibet, China. Officials of the China-Tibet Mountaineering Association are at hand to provide all possible assistance to this joint Pakistan-China venture. The base camp is located at the snout of the Rongbuk Glacier. Three Tibetan climbers join the expedition in view of the friendly relations existing between China and Pakistan.
So, does he also want to do this? Or, as far as I'm concerned, I'm very happy in ABC.
The mountaineers stay at the base camp for a few days to acclimatize to the thin air and plan how to move their gear to the advanced base camp, or Camp 1. After acclimatization, the expedition is ready to move on to Camp 1, which is a 3-day trek. The expedition treks along moraines of the East Rongbuk Glacier. A large number of yaks carry the expedition gear as snow-donned Everest eagerly looks down upon this Pakistani venture. Yaks are hardy animals, which are able to live at high altitudes in extremely low temperatures. They can carry heavy loads and are the best means of transporting the expedition's gear. The expedition travels during the day and stops at intermediate camps on the glacier for the nights. Tibetan yak drivers rest their animals and cook meals during these stopovers. As altitude is gained, ice seracs begin to appear on the glacier. Camp 1 is reached on the 3rd day of the expedition's trek. It is at 6,500 meters of height and is located on solid surface, separating the mountain slope and the East Rongbuk Glacier. This is the farthest yaks can take them. The expedition gear is unloaded and is dumped in the camp's baggage area. The unloading process takes several hours. A tent village is set up, as Camp 1 will serve as the expedition's home for the next 10 weeks or so, till it completes its climb.
हेलो डॉक्टर सफीउल्लाह बोल रहा हूँ चीन से जब बस उस 21,000 फुट बुंदे नोस्ते दल तमो कैंप लगवाला दा नो माउंट एवरेस्ट बिल्कुल आगदा चिक्का समेरता नो 3 किलोमीटर फसले मुंदे मोना समेरदा खुदा दे चिक्का सुबो चिसंगे बे रासू
The expedition faces its first setback as Remat Karim, the expedition cook, suddenly becomes sick and is sent down to the base camp, where he is examined by another doctor. He is suspected of deep vein thrombosis. As a result, the doctor does not allow him to return to advance base camp.
Don't worry, we'll come back and we'll talk with you.
सब चीज का एक चीज का लिखाई करके फिर ले जाएंगे।
The expedition sorts out the gear. As the team expects to establish 3 high-altitude camps before the final summit assault, provisions and oxygen are sorted out and stocked separately for each camp. The mountaineers also need to spend more time at this altitude to acclimatize their bodies to the thinner air. Their stay and work at Camp 1 will make them physically fit to climb higher.
I have seen it. This will be Bible. I don't want any of this. Now, ये तकसीम करें ना आप कैंप वाइज राइस को छोड़ के ये वाला तकसीम करें अभी सर कैंप 4 लिखो इसकी
Tearing, the kitchen boy, puts in extra work to cook the day's food in the absence of the expedition cook. His duties include frequent ice-picking trips to the Rongbuk Glacier crevasses. The collected ice will be melted down to provide water for the expedition. In the meantime, the climbers become familiar with the oxygen equipment.
देखो भाई सारे ये नॉब सबसे जरूरी है नॉब आपका ऑक्सीजन सप्लाई को जो कंट्रोल करता है वो ये नॉब है नॉब बंद होता है 0 पे ये देखो ये आप देख लो ये लाल लाइन देखो और 0 देखो जब 0 होता है इसका मतलब है कि ऑक्सीजन सप्लाई नहीं हो रहा है बंद है
Other expeditions on Everest are camped below the Pakistani camp.
The camp that you see down below is the advanced base camp. Behind the camp you see a glacier that comes all around us. This is the East Rumbuk Glacier. Now if you see right in front of you, you see a wall. You have the Everest on your left and you have another mountain on your right. The bridge or the shoulder that connects both these mountains, this is known as the North Col, or in the Tibetan language is known as the Chungla. The height of Chungla or the North Col is 7,000 meters. Now if you go towards the left, you see the ridge that goes up, straight up, and hits the rocky area of Everest. Now where the rocky area starts, that is the general area of Camp 3. And from Camp 3, from here, I will not be able to pinpoint our route, but definitely you can see the summit pyramid right up there. You can see the snow ridge, and right up the snow ridge to the summit.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Several days at Camp 1 make the expedition members fully acclimatized to the altitude. With the improvement in the weather, Nazir decides to begin the climb up the mountain and establish Camp 2. However, first, the challenge imposed by the 400-meter high vertical North Col is to be met. Nazir is apprehensive of its ice walls and crevasses. The ascent begins at the North Col base. Mountaineers muster their full energies to climb steeper sections of the North Col as they carry heavy loads. At this high altitude, breathing is difficult due to rarefied oxygen. The team will use oxygen cylinders above 8,000 meters, as at that height the air contains only 30% of the oxygen they need. Steep and difficult sections need to be fixed with ice screws and rope for following climbers. The fixed ropes will also help the mountaineers to ferry the large loads of food, tents and other climbing gear needed at Camp 2 and for the climb beyond. The leading climbers make their route under an ice cornice near Camp 2, as others struggle up the vast expanse of the North Col below. At last, the top of the North Col, also known as Chungla, is reached. Here, Camp 2 is established at the height of 7,069 meters. Tents are erected and the camp established. At this altitude, it may be warm during the day, but as evening approaches, the temperatures plummet below freezing, and it becomes dangerous to move around. The food, climbing and oxygen equipment ferried by the climbers are emptied from the rucksacks and stocked inside the storage tent. High winds on the Everest North Ridge can blow away anything lying outside and not secured. Everyone retires to his tent well before sunset.
पहले तो बताओ अपना कैसा हाल है? How's everybody and how's your health over?
We had dinner quite early, around 7. I think all got into sleeping bags, and I was really warm and sleepy. I think Razia Sahab and Ibrahim are fatting and sleepy, already sleeping. Hassan is trying to sleep, perhaps he's already asleep. I hear some murmur in other tents. There's no wind, quiet evening, and all is fine. Over.
Roger. Well, people here are also fine. They've had a good nap.
As the day breaks at Camp 2, fresh snow is fetched to make water for drinking. It is absolutely clear and sunny, with no sign of clouds or winds in view. In the next few days, the climbers will traverse the North Col ice slopes several times to ferry food and climbing gear to Camp 2. As they climb higher, they must return and eat and sleep at lower camps. This will acclimatize and condition their bodies to the thin oxygen and save precious food at the higher camps as well. The ever-changing Everest weather frequently interrupts their schedule.
डॉक्टर साहब भी आपने हवाली में आप तो इसकी शुरू की प्राण चुप में लिप डॉक्टर साहब क्या हाल है
बस सर बहुत fit.
Today was your first day to the North Col.
Today was my first day. Enjoyed a lot.
Good. The weather was not so good today.
हाँ weather तो अच्छा नहीं था सर, लेकिन ये था जर्नी अच्छी थी सर.
Very good.
हाँ इतना यकीन नहीं था अपने आप पे.
Overnight, one of the tents at Camp 1 is torn apart by strong winds.
Give our regards and tell them that we are doing very fine. There have been some tragedies on Everest for the last now 24 hours. तो हमें थोड़ा डर था कि भाई लोग ये सुन लें.
The Chinese offer one of their tents to the Pakistani expedition. It is erected immediately. The expedition doctor at Camp 1 regularly monitors everyone. Living at the high altitude can pose all sorts of medical problems for the human body due to lack of oxygen, low air pressure and low temperatures.
Thank you. थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा ठीक हो जाएगा. ठीक था सर.
Legend has it that the mother goddess of the mountains gets angry if animals are slaughtered beyond the base camp Buddhist monastery. Animals are therefore slaughtered below the base camp, and cut meat is carried to Camp 1. Nazir keeps the expedition coordinator, Colonel Manzoor, in Pakistan, informed of the expedition's progress via the satellite telephone.
Hello, assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much. Nazir calling from Everest Camp 1. The reality is that about 22 expeditions on Everest were active on both sides, south and north, out of which only 4 expeditions have been successful, partly so far, but a lot of them seem to have sacrificed their toes, fingers, but in many cases, as you know very well, 9 lives were also sacrificed for whatever little success these 4 expeditions had.
आज वेदर रिपोर्ट ये है कि अगले 2 से 3 दिन में चूंकि बे ऑफ बंगाल में साइक्लोन आया हुआ है, उसकी वजह से विंड थोड़ी तेज रहेंगी. अगर उसके बाद 3 दिन के बाद फिर बहुत अच्छा वेदर मिल जाएगा आपको.
अल्लाह करे आपकी ज़बान मुबारक हो. Now I think every one of us is very anxious to see a good spell of weather in one go.
After finding one clear weather spell in the last week of May, the expedition sets out to launch their first Everest summit bid. They traverse the same familiar snow plateau up to the North Pole. They're pleased with their climb beyond Camp 2. It is another clear day, presenting a magnificent panorama of both sides of the Everest North Ridge.
Lot of crowds waiting down.
The climb beyond Camp 2 is along the ice field leading to the rocky and boulder-ridden path to Camp 3. A steeper ice climb is encountered below Camp 3. Camp 3 is established at 7,600 meters on the North Ridge.
सेहत का ख्याल रखा करें. बाकी हमारी दुआएं आपके साथ हैं कि आप की सेहत सही रहे और आप ज्यादा से ज्यादा काम दिन में करें. और हमारी हम सब की दुआ है कि आप जल्दी से जल्दी समिट पे पहुंच जाओ.
28th May. The Tibetan climbers decided to move on to the summit ahead of the main Pakistani group. But shortly after their departure, severe winds picked up, forcing Nazir to wait for another clear weather window. May the 29th. Nazir's party leaves for Camp 4. In the meantime, the Tibetans make it to the summit. The next day, Nazir launches his summit bid. As they make progress towards the Everest summit, once again, the winds pick up speed to over 100 kilometers an hour. With the summit a mere 250 meters away, the team is forced to turn back.
What I'm asking is Sheikh Khan with you? Good morning, sir. Firstly, I'm so sorry you didn't make it yesterday. I just wondered what your plans were.
We tried our best to make it to the summit, but we were so undernourished. We had hardly any food in the camp. So put in the same time, the weather turned so badly, the wind was started blowing so hard, so we decided to come down.
Understood, sir. Just to bring you up to date with the situation at ABC, we've actually run out of petrol. I think
We asked for Russell Bryce, there is no petrol.
we've asked Russell Bryce, they have said negative. So I know it's a minor problem, but I'd like to bring it to your attention, and that is that very soon I shall be unable to film.
और उसके बाद रोजी को बस नीचे एहतियात से आप और सरवा ने थोड़ी हिम्मत करके पहुंचाना है फिक्स रोप तक. उसके बाद then we are all moving together.
सही है.
Except Rajab, who is not so well, he's okay, but I would prefer him to just keep moving. बाकी हम सब साथ हैं. This is the plan. Okay.
The long descent to Camp 1 for these exhausted, dejected and sick climbers is a difficult and torturous ordeal.
Very sorry you cannot fly. Very sorry. आप देख लें अपने वो पेपर.
You can't play. Neither you attempt to playing cards and then insisting on playing.
तो आप मुझे होल्ड करा दीजिए. ठीक है, आप तक के बाद में.
The frustration of the failure begins to hit home.
When every time you are criticizing him, every time criticizing him.
Okay, sir. Game is it's only a game.
Captain Iqbal treats himself to a long-awaited bath.
ओ मैं भी पाकिस्तान हूँ, तू भी पाकिस्तान है, तू तो मेरी जान है, तू तो मेरी जान है, तू मेरा ईमान है. ओह, पाकिस्तान की गोल्डन जुबली के मौके पे इंशाल्लाह हम इसको सर करेंगे.
It is early June. The monsoons will soon hit the region with more bad weather, making climbing difficult. All the other expeditions to Everest have now left. The Pakistanis remain to face the challenge of Everest alone. With supplies running low and pressure mounting from home, the expedition leaves Camp 1 to launch yet another summit bid. Everest is not going to give in. Its changing weather again takes its toll. The climbers just above Camp 4 are repulsed by high winds. Meanwhile, Camp 1 down below receives another spell of heavy snow. The frustrated and dejected climbers once again descend to Camp 1.
Morning. हवा ज़्यादा था ना, बहुत हवा था, तो रस्सी नहीं था थोड़ा, तो मैं इस तरह कर एक पत्थर ऐसा हो गया, क्रम्पल हो गया, इस तरह हो गया, केंद्री से।
जब हम नीचे उतर रहे थे ना, तो हवा में पलटियां खिला रहे थे हम, तो भी पटके खेल रही थी हमारे साथ, और सही ठीक ठाक रेसलिंग हुई हवा के साथ हमारी। We were doing the wrestling with the wind, and बस फिर हम वापस आ गए। वहाँ पे हमने सोचा कि गोश्त मोश्त खाएंगे, कोई जान शान बनाएंगे, देखेंगे अगर जान बन गई तो ठीक, अल्लाह का नाम लेके जाएंगे, नहीं तो फिर देखते हैं।
I'm pretty sure we are going to have these 3 days. We are only 3 days away, as we all know. I was forced to decide to abandon the summit bid. Otherwise, I was worried if I would come back without some colleagues, especially seeing some dead climbers around there. But still, sitting here, I'm feeling a bit lonely, like a general on war front who has been deserted by most of his men and colleagues. But I know my commitment is a little bit more than most others who have gone by now.
This is one of the same thing. मैं कच्चे में बहुत आते हैं ऐसा लेने। और काटे।
Papa, how are you? While climbing a mountain, don't fall. Tata dreams, Papa's face, eyes are houses, ears are Papa's car's tires.
Off drive. Single to city running to his left picks up. No runs attempted and the Venkatesh to charge over. 42 gone, it's 250 for 2.
250 for 2.
Venkatesh to charge.
I should phone them.
just before going, maybe it will be a spiritual push to hear their voice. It'd be nice to call them and hear the just voices.
Down on the outside, not making contact. The miles up outside, now try to say then 171 is 250 for 4 in the 45. 250?
Nothing on earth captures one's mind as much as mountains do. You sometimes hardly think of them. But of course, there are times when you need their help. All the memories keep you going.
So close.
Soon it's going to be over. I hope. Another couple of days with weather.
This is the maximum score. I think
God will accept more of your innocence.
My dear fellows, as we reach the climax of this Pakistan Everest expedition, we have gone through different stages of frustrations due to weather. I would say, yeah. While looking at the oxygen supply and other facilities on the mountain, I have decided to send two teams. The first team is consisting of Rajab, Rosie and myself, and the second team is consisted of Colonel Sher Khan, Ibrahim and Meherban.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين
Amin. Thank you, Hassan.
Nazir and his colleagues decide to make one last attempt to conquer the highest mountain in the world. They are determined, but the pressure on them now is immense, and tensions are high. The route to Camp 2 is long and lonely. They pray for good weather to continue, and a delay in the monsoons. With heads down, but imbued with single-minded determination to fly the Pakistani flag on Everest's summit, they climb once again the now all too familiar heights. As they near Camp 3, the weather again turns against them. Nazir urges his men to continue. Camp 3 is reached on the 11th of June.
So how was the night?
Oh, night was lovely, and in fact, I just got up once because of the wind, and I was surprised to see you also awake. And after that, I slept very well. Little hungry.
I didn't sleep. I thought this was the worst night I'd spent on Everest. Yeah. Because of strong winds. क़यामत की रात जिसको कहना चाहिए.
Once again, strong winds and blizzards engulf the summit. The next day, they head for Camp 4.
मेहरबान आराम है
सर इसका सर में काफी दर्द था.
अच्छा रात को नहीं सोए होंगे ना हवाओं की वजह से.
हाँ बिल्कुल नहीं अभी मैं सोया.
Summit attempt है. Wind is blowing. 6 Pakistanis starting the day.
It's June the 13th. Nazir and 5 other climbers reach the summit ridge, only to find their old enemies, the winds and blizzards, blocking the route to the summit. Sher Khan faces problems with his oxygen. After discussing the situation with his colleagues, Nazir has no choice but to abandon this last attempt. The monsoons come. Nazir never got his 3 clear days. Everest is once again the victor, despite man's best endeavors.
Commiserations. What happened?
Please, sir. Sir, I'm
I think Everest is not for us this time, probably. The enemy is again winds. So close, but so far.
2 घंटे के मैंने मोहलत नहीं दी हम हवा ने. बस मजबूरी हम मजबूर होके वापस आए.
कितना मेहनत किया रात?
I and my men did not leave any effort undone.
क्या करें बदकिस्मती, हवा ज़्यादा आ गया, मौसम ख़राब हो गया, कामयाबी नहीं होगी, क्या करें, वापस आ गया.
One of those things, 50% we come for expecting success and 50% failure. A lot of times, a lot of people are not lucky going back alive. I'm very pleased. My team is safe.
So it's just unfortunate. You see, our third attempt. You see, they say, Allah ki raza, right? In everything, there has to be Allah ki raza. And right from the start, I think, in this expedition of ours, Allah ki raza nahi thi.
As you know, the Kazakhs climbed, but they did lose, I think, 4 people, 3. So that's another way of success, if you call it. But I think I'm quite glad going back safe with all my people.
बदकिस्मती ये है कि हमारा पाकिस्तान की झंडा उसी चोटी तक लहराना इम्कान था.
A lot of people, lot of expectations. I don't know how to face them. God.
बात मत करो, कौन से वादा करके आए थे, वादा मौसम की वजह से नहीं हो सका. So I think that is the end of the Everest story for Pakistan.
Namasule goyolane lergao Nina inidar mena menedere soyang emalton gao Ina inidar mena menedere soyang emalton gao Changa ye kar pore shakata Dong ayala tan ma meler gao